show you, as I'm making myself a pair of earrings, how I am doing these earrings, playing with some of our new open forms. We have these open forms in an oval, and then we also have them in a circle, and I really love them and kind of the look of the form. And I'm going to be playing around with the circle and having something coming kind of off the side. But I wanted to show you, I was making these while watching a little bit of Olympics yesterday, and I wanted to show you how I was doing this with some of our new products. So these open oval forms are an antique silver color, and I'm going to be using a white thread with them. If you want to make these open form earrings, below the video there's a date that says when the video was produced and published. Below that there's a little show more button that you can click on to give you links to the different products. To make these open form earrings, I have the open frame in the oval, and I'm going to use 2 of them. They're sold in packs of 2. So just like the ovals, you have the circles. The technique I'm using with the ovals is going to be the same if you would want to do the same style with the actual circles too. In addition to those, you're going to need 2 ear wires if you're doing it as an ear wire or as an earring. You could also just do it as a nice simple pendant as well. In addition to that, you need some beads. Because of the way that I'm using the form, you're really required to use very little beads. I have 2 pearls, 1 for each, and they're about a 4mm pearl. In addition to that, on the first form here, I have 2 8/0 seed beads, 4 15/0 seed beads in my matte silver color, and then 2 15/0 seed beads in my gold color. Other than that, I have a strand here. We've started getting in some gemstones in faceted 2mm. They shine and sparkle like no other. One of my favorite strands to have is this tourmaline strand because it has such a color variety in the strand itself. You can get a lot of different colors out of this strand. So in the tourmaline strand itself, I'm bringing out 4 different tones of the 2mm tourmaline. I have that pretty pink color. Then I have almost the greenish peridot color, then that ruby and brown mix, and then the bluish green at the top. Again, I love these tourmaline because they have all those different colors, but we have some gorgeous other 2mm ones as well. I have some of the faceted aquamarine right here. So 2 or 3mm, doesn't matter what you're using. You can even use up to 4mm. That's the cool thing with these, you don't really need a specific size. I also have sitting handy my thread zap or my thread burner. That's to be used at the very ends of the project to burn down the thread to make it that you don't actually see it. I'm using 0.006 Wildfire in the white color. Hindsight, I probably should have used my gray color because it would have matched with the silver a little bit better. But honestly, from your ear to the actual person viewing it, no one's going to see that white thread. It's the tiniest bit of white thread. From a distance, you're really not going to see it. I do have a size 12 needle that I'm working with because the gemstones tend to have a very small hole, so you'll definitely want a size 12 needle. Also sitting here, I have my thread snips that I snip some of the thread with, and I also have some super new glue that I can glue down the thread ends. So to get started with these frame earrings, the first thing I'm going to do is take my newest frame, and I'm just going to simply tie a knot with the frame. That being said, I'm just going to take the frame, put it on the bottom of my thread, and simply tie a knot. Right over left, left over right, and I have 2 knots in there. This is going to move up and down the frame. You can see it'll kind of move all around it. We're going to position it right at the bottom of the frame. I'm going to move this one kind of off to the side. And I'm going to begin with just my pearl. So the pearl sits at the very bottom, and it's going to sit alone. So I have the pearl. Let that drop down. And I'm going to take the thread then. So the pearl's just hanging out right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the thread over the top of the form, and I'm going to tuck the needle under the form. What that's going to do as I pull is pull the thread so it's wrapped around the form. So the frame is now wrapped, and I'm going to go through my pearl bead. That has 1 piece of thread then right there hanging out with the pearl bead. To continue, I'm going to add rows on top. To add my first row on top, I'm going to go over top of the frame here, push that stop thread just to the back, and I apologize, I have a little slice in my thumbnail, I know that. All right, so the thread then goes to the front of the frame and then out the back. On the sides here, I have the 8/0s to position the pearl so that it's sitting correctly. So I have 1 8/0 that I'm going to put on, and then 4 of my 15s. These 15s that I'm putting on color-wise are my matte Duracoat galvanized silver. I'll put on my second bead here and let those all drop down next to my form. Once those are all dropped down next to the form, we're going to begin almost like a leather wrap style. So if you've done the leather wrap, the great thing is you already know how this thread is going to go. So it's going to go in front of the form, take my needle to the back of the frame, and go back through all the seed beads out to the front of the frame. Give it a nice little tight yank, and that should bend those seed beads right around the pearl. The thread's going to go back around the frame from the front to the back, and then again through all of those beads and out to the front of the frame. Push those beads exactly in place the way that you want them. The first frame that you do, you don't really need to worry about the exact placement. You can play around with exactly how many beads you use. You may have a smaller or a bigger pearl, so you may need a couple more beads in the actual frame. You can switch up the pattern, obviously, for that. From here, I'm going to take some of my beads off. And when it comes to the tourmaline strand, I like to keep them on the actual strand as I'm using them, because you can see they're in these color blocks, generally speaking. So I want to go through and take them off in that form to make sure that I'm using the correct ones. So I have those lighter pink, and I'm going to try to kind of match up those lighter pink by taking these off the form. So I have 4 of those lighter pink, and we'll add those 4 there. And I don't mind if the color difference is just a tiny little bit, because I want some of that color difference to make them look natural. While I'm taking these off too, I'll slide down to my next blue-green, put those in a pile, so that way I know that those are ready to go for my 4th row of tourmaline. My 2nd row of tourmaline here, as I take some of these blue-greens and move them off to the side, I'll grab some of those darker colors and get those in here. And then I will go the whole way back here till I get some of these green colors that I can add on my row. And then there I'll have all those little colors together. So the first thing I'm going to do once I have my colors kind of in a pile, and again, they don't need to be exact. My thread is going to go from the front of the project to the back of the project. I'm going to grab my 5 pink beads. 1, and these can be a little tricky to get with your needle to find the actual holes in them. Sometimes I even need to pick them up, kind of rotate them in my hand to find that hole. Once I have all 5 on, I'll let that shift down towards my frame. And again, just like we did to the row above it, we're going to go over the top of the frame, bring our needle to the back through all those beads, which is going to create that loop of thread around this oval frame. Bring your needle out towards the front of the project. I have a lot of thread on my needle. You don't need necessarily this much thread. Position them exactly the way that I want them to be. Oh, I had one that didn't make it, so I'll unstring there, put another one on, and then as I'm pulling back, we'll get that exact form that we need. Now that I have those 5 beads on there, and the one that actually snapped is because of that needle again. If I had a size 13 needle, I should probably put that on. Sometimes as you force the needle through with additional thread, it will crack these kind of fine gemstone beads. So now that I have that on, again, I'm coming out the front. I'm going to tuck to the back of the form, and I'm ready for my next row. My next row is going to consist of 6 of my green color. So I'm just going to, again, feed these on. And as you finish this green row, you'll be able to see really, really well the zigzag pattern that starts to occur. So we'll drop those down on the thread. Take that across here. And you can see there's 2 threads, then 2 threads. There's 2 threads on the other side and 2. So it's going back and forth. We're going around the frame then, from the front to the back. So I'm always going from the front to the back of the frame. Taking my thread and needle back through all those beads. And you can do this with just plain seed beads. You can do it, again, like I said, with bigger beads, a bigger frame. You can make your own frames. We've done that for one of our bead and wine nights at our headquarters store. Once I have that on there, I'm going to take the thread and needle, go back behind the form, and back through those beads one more time to get them to really stay in place. Once I'm through them an additional time, I'm pulling the thread through, give a nice little tight yank. I'll push them down exactly where I want them to be. And you can see one pair to the other pair right now. And as I have those pairs together, I'm going to add my next row, again starting from the top and going towards the back. So I'm going to do this again with my next row, which is also going to be another row of the tourmaline, and it's going to be that darker row of tourmaline, and I'm going to add 7 beads in that tourmaline progression. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is going to make that little bit of an arching shape on the actual frame itself. Now, having come through, I've added the next row as well, which is 6 of the blue and then 2 of those little gold beads. And going back through, I've gone back through the sides. I'm going to play with the form a little bit just to get it to match the other one. And then as I have my pair completed, I'm going to go in and actually tie off my thread. To tie off the thread, all I'm going to do is go over the form, making a loop. So through that loop once and twice, making a little knot there, a little sewer's knot. Take it down along the form and pull it back, because you do have kind of a front and a back to the form. I'm going to pull it kind of towards the back of the form, pushing it along the back and pulling nice and tight. From there, with your thread burner, you're going to go in and actually burn off the threads. When I burn off the thread, I want to get it as close to the pearl as possible, and then burn it down and tuck it in right in the middle there so you don't see it at all next to that pearl. Same at the top here, that little sewer's knot that you did. You're going to burn it down towards the back and then burn it flush. I am then going to take my super new glue, because of the way that I did the knots, and just open that up a little bit. Dab on that knot and the exterior knot on the other form. The last thing I need to do is just take my needle nose pliers, go in here, and I have my stainless steel ear wires. Open up that surgical steel, put my form on so the front is facing forward, close it up. Next one here, open up by pulling to the side that form so that way it doesn't lose its actual loop integrity. Close it up. Now you have a fun little beautiful pair of earrings. When I was doing these, my husband actually said, oh, those would be cool as chakra earrings too, that you could do the different earrings in the different stones. So there's an idea for you guys that like that metaphysical stuff as well, and have fun kind of creating. You can also have things off to the side. You can do brick stitch. Like I said, I'm going to be playing around with these other forms here, kind of doing something off to the side as well. But thought I would just show you, as I make myself a pair of earrings, what goes into the process of doing something like this. and having these frames and building around them. Again, if you've done leather wrap, it's pretty much the same as that you have the sides that you're going to and back and forth. So have fun creating these fun earrings, and as you create and make, you can also shoot us pictures. If you want to, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. You'll get regular updates then when we do new videos for you, get new ideas, get new products in, as well as you can check me out at potomacbeads.com, order some supplies from us there. You can also visit me on Facebook and Instagram and check us out in those cool social media places as well, like Pinterest. Additionally, if you want to stay connected, join an awesome forum of people that love to make jewelry, you can go to Facebook and join our group for beading and jewelry making. Ask to become a member there and show us all the fun things that you guys make. Get ideas, inspiration, and help from some awesome designers. As always, thank you so much. Thanks for watching these fun frame earrings, and enjoy, if you get your chance to, making a pair of these fun frame earrings. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.